Alrighty, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is an industrial style lamp, and I love this because I feel like it goes so well with modern decor, farmhouse decor. I absolutely love industrial style things. If you wanted to make this into a real lamp, you can always buy a lamp kit at Walmart or Lowe's, wherever you want, but this one does light up and you'll see how. So I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And please hit that notification bell. YouTube has been so funky lately, so when you click it, make sure it looks like it has little parentheses around it, or else all you're gonna see are my haul videos, which is so weird. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off by making a base for my lamp, and you can use this puzzle piece from Dollar Tree, which has a nice wood backing, or you can use a circle plaque, which is 97 cents at Walmart, or the tumbling tower games, which is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to grab my square tool, and I'm going to set all of my Jenga out. I lay them out first to make sure that they fit nicely, and I'm really impressed by this particular pack because all of them seem to fit nicely. If you've seen my other tutorials, I always have to get rid of a few because they're a little lopsided, but this was perfect. So I'm going to bind them together using Gorilla Wood Glue. I will say it in every video, you can use whatever glue you like, just do not use hot glue because it creates bulk and it doesn't really give you lasting results. I'm going to push them up against each other and make sure that they're nice and straight, and instead of wiping down that glue that's left over, I'm just going to let it dry that way because it's a lot easier to sand it off when it's in that big chunk instead of it being spread onto the entire Jenga piece. So make sure that you take your time with this and that you're letting this dry really well before moving on. By the way, you can completely skip this step if you have scrap wood around and just cut whatever you need for this project. While this dries, I'm going to work on my very top piece, and you can also use scrap wood, Jenga, whatever you want, but I use these alphabet blocks from Dollar Tree. I just liked how thick they were, but to be honest with you, scrap wood would probably be best for this. So because they have these numbers on them, I tried removing them using 100% acetone from Dollar Tree, and it did the trick, but there were still some of the letters showing through. So after I buffed that in there and tried to get as much of it off, I realized that there were some colors that just weren't budging. So green came off fairly easily, but blue did not. After I did this, I took a sanding sponge and I tried to get it off. At the end, I just ended up soaking everything in acetone for a little bit. After being fed up, I tried just putting them in a glass container or a glass vase and pouring the acetone in there. And as soon as I poured it in, the water immediately turned blue, which means that all of this stuff was about to come off. It didn't remove everything, but the color of the stain that I was using did cover most of it up. And if you are planning on painting this a regular color, you don't need to do this at all, but look at the colors that it's turning. So this is what it looks like. I did go back in and try and buff the colors out a little bit more, and nothing was happening, so I kind of just gave up and was hoping that the stain would take care of it, and thankfully it did. After I removed them from the acetone bath, I made sure they were pretty dry before I decided to bind them together using my Gorilla Wood Glue. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, which is just make sure that they are perfectly straight and that they are completely dry before moving on. You don't have to do this step at all if you're using scrap wood because it's going to be one single piece. So as you can see, this is what my bigger piece is looking like, and I'm going to try and get all that glue off. I did do some off camera, which is why it looks so sleek. So now that that's dry, I'm going to add a Dollar Tree rolling pin. Now you can add it wherever you want, even in the center, but I'm doing it far to the side, and I'm going to add a generous amount of Gorilla Wood Glue. After the wood glue dries completely, you can of course put a nail through this to make sure that this is secure, especially if you do plan on putting this outside. I just made sure that it was exactly where I wanted so that I didn't have to keep moving it around, and I let it dry. So now I'm moving on to my top piece, and I made the mistake of hand screwing a little hook on the inside instead of using my drill, and that ended up splitting my wood, which sucked, but I could still use it. So now I added a generous amount of Gorilla Wood glue to the top and placed my top piece where I wanted. Now, I ended up moving the placement quite a few times because I didn't know how I wanted it to go, but I let it dry really well, and when I was done, I used a dark walnut stain to stain the entire thing. Now, if you don't want to stain yours and you just want to paint it, then you can go ahead and skip the step where we try and remove the letters off of the square blocks. You also don't have to sand as much. The sanding is more important when you're staining so that everything can stain evenly. But if you're just painting, you can go ahead and skip that as well. Just make sure that you're getting to all the nooks and crannies, because since these are individual pieces of wood, you are going to have a few pieces that are going to stay unstained if you don't get in there. If you do plan on using this outdoors, then you might want to seal the wood afterwards so that it won't get damaged, but that is totally up to you. So while that dries, I'm going to work on my actual little lamp area, and I'm going to use this little candle holder from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove that little gold part right there. This is really, really easy, but before I do that, I'm going to get one of these little garden stake thingies. Once you remove this, once it goes dark, it does light up. If you want something that lights up a little stronger, Walmart has some for 97 cents that lights up a lot more than the Dollar Tree ones. So with a pair of pliers, I'm just going to go ahead and remove those little pieces right there. This is really, really easy, but you definitely do need pliers. It won't come off by just pushing it. So this is what you're left with, and your top piece should fit nicely. But before we put it together, I do want to paint everything. So I'm going to cover this up with some painter's tape and the top as well. You want to make sure that you don't cover the top piece with any kind of paint, or you don't obstruct that, because then it's just going to stay on and it's not going to charge up at all, since these are little solar stakes. I didn't know this, but you could actually take off that little plastic piece. I kept mine on because I didn't want to accidentally paint that light, but if you did want to add some twinkle lights in there to make this a lot brighter, you totally can. Now that I know you can remove that, and you can just put the battery pack up top. But just make sure that you are not covering that little tiny solar thing, or this will not work unless you are just replacing the light completely with just little tiny twinkle lights. So once everything was nice and covered, I took it outside and gave it a coat of Rust-Oleum's flat black. I use this for everything, and I absolutely love the way that this dries down. Once it was completely dry, I went ahead and removed everything, and it was time to assemble. By the way, these little tea lights also do come in flat black, but I couldn't find them. I found them in gold, and regardless, I would have had to paint everything since the top of these little stakes are silver. So this is how it looks, and I'm going to use this little plant hanger from Dollar Tree. I'm actually just going to break up one of the chains. So with my pliers, I'm going to pry one open, and now that it has that little V shape, I'm going to try and hook it in to one of those little pieces that are hanging down so it doesn't move around. So once I have it hooked in with my same pliers, I'm going to close that up. I added 3 of these chains in total, and they were all 6 links high. You can make this as short or as long as you want, but I didn't want it too long because then it would hang a little low. So once I had all of my pieces in, I went ahead and made sure that my little solar stake still fit in nicely, and it did. You can secure this down with E6000, but I thought I would leave it as is in case I wanted to replace it with another light, or I just didn't really like this and wanted to get one of the Hobby Lobby bulbs. So now I'm going to go ahead and use a little hook. This I got at Walmart, and it came in a pack of 6. So then I just added my little piece, and bam, I had an adorable little lamp. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it so much, and as usual, thank you so much for watching. Till next time.